acting, dancing, drawing, and of course writing. Like I said today, she's here to present and sign her book, Harriet in Philadelphia, BFF. Please join me in giving a huge welcome to Emily Nunn. Is that a good height for you? Yes. You're a little taller.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. So, as you all know, my name is Emily Nunn. I would like to thank you all so much for coming. It really means a lot to me that you all came to support me and just enjoy the food, enjoy the morning and afternoon. So thank you for coming. And today I will be talking about and reading and signing my book, Harriet and Philadelphia, BFFs. So this book was based off of stories that I would tell my grandma and my dad would tell me. And it was a thing that I did a lot when I was younger. But as I grew up, I stopped telling the stories as much because, technology came out, so I was mostly on my phone or watching TV, and I didn't get to tell stories as much. So, about a year ago, I decided to make a book for my grandmother's birthday because she loved hearing the stories, and that way she could always just look back and read the story to remind her of when I was young, and I would tell these stories. And then she took it to a publisher, and it got published. and here I am today.
Yay,
Here is my book, Harriet and Philadelphia, BFFs. There once was a hamster named Harriet who lived in a pet store called Petropolis. In Petropolis, Harriet lived with all of her family. There was Mama, Daddy, Papa, and Grandma, yes, with 2 M's. Her friends also lived near her. Her best friend was Chili Pepper, another hamster. She was also friends with Gary the iguana, Perry the parakeet, Mimi the mouse, and last but not least, Larry the monkey. But one day, an 8-year-old girl with a yearning for a hamster companion walked through the door. The girl's name was Philadelphia, and she was very excited to look at all of the animals. Philadelphia was a 2nd grader at Sunville School. She loved playing basketball, shopping, dancing, spending time with her family and friends, and singing. Hoping to find the missing piece in her life, Philadelphia and her mother, Karen, walked into Petropolis. Philadelphia started pulling her mother toward the rodent section, and she saw Harriet, the perfect hamster. Harriet noticed Philadelphia was pointing to her while talking to an employee. The next thing she knew, Harriet was packing her bags and saying goodbye to her family and friends. Soon, the employee placed her into a box, and off she went to her new home. When Philadelphia opened the box to let Harriet out, Harriet yelled, "Wow, I can't believe this is my new home." Philadelphia was shocked and replied, "You can talk?" "Sure I can," said Harriet. "Listen, my name is Harriet." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Harriet." "What do you like to do?" Philadelphia asked. "I like playing basketball, shopping, dancing, spending time with family and friends, and singing." "Me too," Philadelphia exclaimed. Harriet and Philadelphia became great friends, but Philadelphia was not the only friend Harriet had nearby. Over time, all of Harriet's family and friends from Petropolis became her neighbors. They even had secret passages to each other's houses, and they used them all of the time. And that's how Harriet was adopted and met her new best friend, Philadelphia. The end. Thank you all so much. And that was my book. And just a few tidbits. So, you know how Harriet and her best friend Chili Pepper, they had secret passages to each other's houses? Well, when I was younger, I always would dream about having secret passages to my friends' houses or a roller coaster so I could get there faster or something like that. So I figured I'd incorporate that in the book. And also, it's a bit strange, but when I said grandma, yes, with 2 M's, it's because when I was younger, I never spelled grandma Grandma. I always just did Gramma. And I never really knew the correct spelling, I don't know, until I was in 2nd grade, but I just kept spelling it that way because it was special to my grandma. And yes, and her family and friends, they're based off of my family. Like, it's my mom, my dad, and my grandma, and my papa. And then, like, Polly the parakeet, Polly's my grandma's name. Larry, that's my papa's name. And just a little, I like to incorporate, like, myself and my past into my book. Like, Philadelphia, you notice how she has straight across bangs. That was me a few years ago. And I had that hairstyle for most of my life. And all her likes and interests, those were my interests. I mean, I don't really play basketball much anymore, but, and also, like, this house is actually based off my house. I changed it a bit, like the color or the color of the roof, because my house, it's actually a light green color, and we have turrets. We have a turret in our house to make it look like a castle, so I could base it off just a bit on my house, and it made it look like Yelp. And anyway, those are just some tidbits about my book. And Harriet, when I was younger, I had a lot of pets. I had hamsters galore. I mean, you know, I had multiple because they run away or they get sick, and they all stayed at, okay, well, they stayed at my dad's house. But anyway, I had hamsters when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure I named one Harriet. And thank you. And do you have any questions?
Well, could you, before you sign the books that people buy, and you just, Dr. Karina will tell you where to sign them, so they're worth something later on in life. Do you have any words of wisdom for aspiring authors? I know you recently met the man who wrote A Monster Calls, Patrick Nessa. So and he told you something, like, do you have any advice for young authors?
So recently, I went to a screening of a movie called A Monster Calls, and the author was there afterwards, and he talked to us, and I actually asked that same question to him, and he said, just write what you're passionate about and write about what you would want to read. So really, if you want to be a writer or an author, anything is possible. If you believe in yourself and work hard, and just if you have an idea, just write it out, and really, the world is your oyster. Any other questions? Yes.
Did you illustrate the book?
Yes, I did illustrate this book. I had a sketchbook when about a year ago, and it's about just pieces of paper that were pretty small, actually, and I re-hole punched it and tied it together, and I drew with coloring pencils and everything for my grandma's birthday. But then when I found out it was being published, I had to make the drawings darker. But yes, I did this. Yes.
Since one of your hamsters was named Harriet, how'd you get Philadelphia?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I made it up when I was younger. My dad would tell stories to me, and I'm not quite sure, to be honest, considering it's city. No, I'm not a city. Sorry. Considering the name is such a strange name, I don't really know.
It is a city, or is it a state? Yeah,
it's a city. It's a city.
Geography said you're a town.
Any other questions?
I have a question. When you were in the 4th grade, Mrs. Seymour was your teacher. What was your assignment for English? To write a paper.
In 4th grade, we had these things called WEs. They're called like weekly essays. So we have our vocabulary books, and we'd incorporate the words into our essays. And I loved doing the essays, and my teacher loved it because I get to, be creative. I've always loved creative writing and everything.
But your best creative stories have been from experience, really.
Yes, Mrs. Bow.
I noticed you have this really pretty pink getting all over the book. How did you come up with, like, this is going to be the color?
Well, for most of the book, Harriet has a pink bow, so I know I wanted it to be pink, but actually the publishers sent us like an overview of the book, and this was the color that they picked.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this the first of a series of
Yes.
adventures?
I hope to be writing more. I plan on writing one where Harriet and Philadelphia go to France, because I have traveled there recently in the past and I've loved it, and I take French, and hopefully there will be more after that. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for coming.